Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Smite North American Pro League Kickoff LAN event. I am hi-rez Gabe, she is hi-rez Kelly, and we are coming at you live from Atlanta, Georgia. Joining us here today are the top 4 Smite teams from North America, and they will be playing today for $50,000. Kelly, I'm super excited.
I'm really excited. I mean, we got the top 4 teams here: Cognitive Gaming, Dignitas Snipe, and Cognitive Red, the sister team to Cognitive Gaming. And honestly, it could be anyone's game. At the EU Kickoff LAN a few weeks ago, we saw that the 3rd and 4th seeded team made it to the finals, being Coast Blue and SK Gaming. And maybe we're going to see that today.
That's right, it could be anyone's game. Any one of these teams could take home the grand prize. So without further ado, let's jump right into the action. We're going to cut to our expert desk for some analysis, and after that, our casters will take it away with our first match, which is going to be Cognitive Red versus Cognitive Gaming.
Hello everybody, hi-rez Kelly. I'm joined by hi-rez Bart, the expert desk. Before we talk a little bit about Cognitive Gaming and Cognitive Red, we're going to talk about the path these teams are going to be taking to the World Championships. Bart, take us away.
That's right, so let's take a look here at the lovely graphic that enumerates exactly how teams go from this kickoff of the Pro League into the World Championship. So where we are right now is the inaugural LAN that takes us into the Pro League. All 4 of these teams already qualifying, 2 more coming in from the relegation process. And then those teams will play for a spot in the playoffs in a LAN in November. 2 teams from there in each region going to the World Championships for a chance to compete for their share of $600,000 base prize pool.
But before they get there, they have to get through Game 1, which is Cognitive Gaming versus Cognitive Red. Now, Bart, Cognitive Gaming is the #1 seed. Do you think that they have an advantage by being #1 seed and having to go against their sister team?
It's an interesting thing for COG, right? Because COG actually had a rare opportunity to choose their seed for this tournament in a real way. Dignitas sat out the 9th week attending an offline LAN event at RTX. Cognitive elected to win, I guess, as good competitors. They won that weekend, which put them in the #1 seed spot. Unfortunately, COG Red unable to convert into the 3rd seed position, so they had to go versus each other. So is it an advantage? I think absolutely.
I mean, one of the newest members of Cognitive Gaming is Jeff Hindla, their support, and Jeff is really known for objective taking and stealing. What else does Jeff exceed in?
Well, when you think about Jeff, Jeff's really a player that has a lot of fan support based on his kind of big play potential. But I think maybe what makes Jeff fit for this team very well is that it's a little bit of a kind of super team feel with bringing Jeff onto COG. But it seems like they're not having ego issues or anything like that. So I think maybe what makes him such a good support is how he fits into the team.
Well, talking about super team, Andinster, their jungler and captain, very, very strong. Do you feel that, considered one of the strongest junglers, what does he bring to the table overall?
Well, Andinster out of the jungle, it's an interesting kind of player, right? Because you look at his top gods, Thor and Hunbots. So that kind of leads you into thinking that Andinster really is the controller of the game. Look for him to be very strong in the mid game, coming in with those big team fight ultimates. And another thing about Andinster is that from the European scene, I was just over in Germany for the European LAN, those players consider him the best player in the world, hands down.
That is crazy. Do you think we're going to see a Thor ban?
I would expect to see lots of bans targeted at Andinster today.
So the team they're going to be going up against and their sister team is Cognitive Red. Now, Cognitive Red is a newer team, but they have been able to scrim against Cognitive. Do you think that gives them a little bit of an advantage?
No, I don't. Cognitive Red, the less tenured team. Cognitive Prime, much more LAN experience, much more of a kind of cohesive unit. The Game Changers, now Cognitive Red, less time to prepare, and they've been scrimming primarily against their sister team, as you mentioned. And in that case, I'd say that the advantage goes to the team that was historically stronger.
That's true, and you were just talking about a LAN experience. Snoopy, their hunter and captain, actually has a bit more LAN experience than the rest of their teams. Do you think that he has to lead them and maybe give them some encouragement to let them get a win in there?
Yeah, I think that leadership's the operative word there. I mean, he has to really take this team, get them ready for a LAN experience. He's the only one that has it, as you mentioned, but it's not a lot of LAN experience. He's not, and certainly hasn't come to as many LANs as a Dignitas player or a Cognitive player to date, so he really has to try to get these guys ready. Snoopy, a very reliable, kind of slow-paced player. There's some really interesting stats that Drybear has on that when we can move over to the commentary desk. But for now, suffice to say that Snoopy is going to be maybe the benchmark for this team, and can he get them in their mindsets ready to play here in LAN?
That's true. Do you think that Cog Red's success is going to hinge on Garza's ability to be ahead, especially with Thor Garza that we really know him well for?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gars factors very heavily into any chance of success for Cognitive Red. Once again, as you see, Hunbots and Thor being his primary god, so very similar across both teams. Gars, known more for his Thor play, known for a long time as Thor Gars in competitive play. And the question really to me is, can Cognitive Red make a big enough push in Game 1 to open up a spot for Thor to get picked?
Well, I'm really excited to get Game 1 started with Cognitive Gaming and Cognitive Red. Now take it away to DM and Driver at the caster desk.
Thanks, Kelly. Everyone, welcome to Atlanta, Georgia, here for the NA Pro League kickoff LAN. We're just moments away from getting into the match here. It's going to be Cognitive Prime and Cognitive Red. A lot goes into this first picking stage.
Yeah, at least from my knowledge, we're going to see Cognitive Gaming take first pick here, where usually most teams like to favor second pick.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the bans go out to more directed in LAN environments. A lot of times online, you'll see players pick what they feel like they want, and then LAN, it's all directed. They want to stop that person from getting that one thing. An interesting fact here is that if Andinser gets one of his top 3 gods in the jungle, Cognitive Red has never beat them.
Yeah, from what I understand, Barracuda's opinion on that is that Freya is a very difficult god to play.
That's right. So where to the match we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Cognitive Prime and Cognitive Red. The first ban comes out, and it's going to be Giannis.
I like this. I don't think that he should get a lot of time this weekend. Super, super strong, great control, and the dropship ability coming out from through time and space is just not something you're going to want to deal with.
Well, I think Cognitive Prime really wanted to make sure they got first ban here and first pick just because they want those big pickups. You see Osiris is banned automatically, and it's put Cognitive Red in the situation where they have to get rid of those main 3 targets, Kumba, Osiris, and of course Ram. Those 3 targets you never want to pick up. They're going to get rid of Apollo here. This is directly targeted at Barracuda. His stats with that god are just off the charts.
Now, we still have Athena super strong. Great win ratio does Jeff Inlet have with Athena. And then Rama available. And guys, remember at home, we are on the patch previous to the most recent, so it's still the very scary, very controlling Rama.
Yeah, of course. It's the Circuit patch that we're playing on here at this LAN environment, so definitely going to still have that old Ram. Kumba nerfs, though they were small, are still not in this patch either. So a lot of interesting things going into this. With Aphrodite ban and Apollo ban, the first pick will go to Cognitive Prime. They're going to pick up Ram immediately. Where does this put Cognitive Red?
Well, Cognitive Red leaves Thor on the table and Athena, 2 characters that, I mean, you should be afraid of. Like you said, or rather, like Bart said, it was Thorgars. I mean, this was his character, so we're probably going to see him picked up. Athena, also huge. I mean, they don't want to give that away to Jeff Hindla, but that leaves Jeff Hindla open with Geb, a character that he's been incredibly potent with. I was actually speaking earlier on. I would love to just see the stat of how much damage has been mitigated just by Geb's shield between Incontinence and Jeff Hindla.
Oh, that'd be a fascinating stat. So they're going to pick up Thor here. One interesting fact is Cognitive Prime has never lost a game with Athena, so they're going to steal that one away. Thor's going to be locked in here, going to Gars. Ull's going to be picked up as well. A pretty strong character for Snoopy, but I think he really wanted either Ram or Apollo.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine so. I mean, but they banned out Apollo. They didn't want to give that to Barracuda. I think that's Barracuda's namesake. That's how he became so popular. I mean, this character and him have been kind of copacetic for maybe almost a year now.
Sure.
Very scary. So to take that away, I think that was a good play.
Now, one interesting to look at here is Geb is such a powerful support for Cognitive Prime. We know Jeff Hindla plays fantastically. In fact, his win rate with Geb is 90%. And generally, if he plays Geb, his kill-death ratio on Barracuda is much higher.
Really?
Yes.
That's insane. We were going to see Freya taken out. Like we said, Freya super difficult to play. Andy is, I think, getting targeted maybe a little bit there. The Osiris ban came out. We talked about earlier, I said to the teams, is there any chance that we're going to see Osiris this weekend? And not a single person said yes. Except for Cognitive. They're like, Cognitive let us play it in scrims a few times. Like, it's not going to happen.
Osiris has got to go. Vamana's going to be locked in here. And then right after that is Hunbots, Vamana in the solo lane. Of course, Hunbots in the jungle. Across the way, Zhonghui is locked in here for Cognitive Red. Now, I did talk to Omega previously last night, actually, and asked him a little about the matchup between Divios and himself, and he was very confident that if Divios goes mage, that he's 100% confident he can win that lane.
Well, he has Vamana here. There's a lot of healing property, can chase down Zhonghui very, very quickly. There's not a lot of escape potential in Zhonghui, so he has to be careful about ganks, especially with a character like Hunbots, able to jump in very quickly, fear him in the wrong direction, and then a ton of damage goes through. I think the spotlight's on the jungle solo here. Will Divios be able to stay alive long enough to become relevant in the late game?
Sure, I mean, definitely. The biggest component in solo is what does the jungler do? We know Gar's can be very aggressive. And then talking to Omega again last night, his main concern was, can I control this lane well enough to avoid Gar's coming into it? He's not really concerned about Divios being the lane. It's generally not how it happens with the solo laners. They just push the wave, they farm, they get their blue buffs, they try to invade if they can. But if the jungler shows up, that's the essence of when the aggression starts. So Gar's coming out here, he's going to have to make it work. Now, one thing that we know about Cognitive Red is they're a team that, I mean, realistically, from the statistical standpoint, they have to do well early. And Cognitive Prime knows they like to drag the matches out. The same thing they do to every team. They like to slow it down, be very careful, be very cautious, let that ride into a mid and late game, and then win out late.
I think really what we're looking for from COG is, on the opposite, tons of early aggression, especially from Rama. Early game with this patch, Rama does not need the blue buff. We're likely to see that picked up either onto the mid or to the support, likely Jeff Hinla, which means more shockwaves, more shields, and they're coming out for free.
Right, so we'll see how that early objective control goes as well. Generally, they like to kind of push the aggression early on Cognitive Red. And I think a lot of the pressure is riding here on Gars and whether or not he can control the early game. We know, and one of the biggest things about MLC is he's one of the few mids. That's right, give it up, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know who you're voting for here. Cognitive Prime and Cognitive Red. Stealth is a very cautious player. He buys 2 wards every time he backs. He double wards the lane.
Every time. Always make sure that he doesn't have the jungle presence. He wants to make sure that he has the ability to rotate back down to his tower as fast as possible without getting ganked. Expect a lot of defensive wards coming into the mid lane. Expect a lot of aggression in the solo lane. And really, I think my eyes here are on Barracuda to see what he can do with the rather a touch overpowered Rama in the beginning.
Snoopy playing Ull here. He's actually a pretty big fan of Ull. It's his 3rd most played character, but he just, he has to be concerned about the push from Ram. And Ram, his biggest point is that, he jumps in, he's going to cripple for 1 second, keeps Snoopy from jumping away, and also able to push the wave freely. And the biggest thing about Ram is that because the way his kit works, he gets a lot of last hits. He's just last hitting the whole wave with those shots, getting a lot of gold and a lot of experience from it. Nice aggressive ward here on the blue buff coming out from on the right side. About Ionic, of course, getting in his face. I think it was spotted out by Barracuda, so they know that there's a ward there.
Yeah, you could see him kind of hovering back, not giving too much information away. As Jeff moves forward, though, I'm sure Barra's going to follow suit.
See him grouping up here inside of the jungle area. Mid camp's being pushed up. Looks like we do have Snoopy in the mid lane.
And we're going to get started here. The minions are coming up camps in just a few seconds as the players rally together in a fairly traditional start. Though, check out the left side here at the mid camp.
That's right. Fade and the glow coming out there. Mid camp's going to be pushed down. The damage buff will be soloed by Andenster. Now, Hoonbots is an interesting character because, he has such a great mobility kit. He can jump in, use his abilities, and jump out because of the cooldown usage. And the ultimate's a big pressure ultimate. If he gets in the mid lane, now, granted, Agni's pretty good at being able to get away from those kind of things, but I'm going to be watching the Boosh to see how he deals with the aggression.
Speaking of aggression, Boosh dashes through the wave early on, not too feared. He knows that the jungle is not going to rotate over so soon, but I don't think they had ward coverage to confirm that, and I'm actually pretty surprised to see maybe not an early counter, but Boosh does get some creeps into the tower, and MLC loses a first bit of gold.
Right tower getting pushed up there. Left side, he's thinking very aggressive. Hinla and Barracuda getting right in the face of Snoopy. Jumping forward there with Glory Bound. Get the stun on Jeff Hinla. Some harassment coming through. Not very heavy, but definitely get some damage out.
Charging up the preemptive. I think it's just a scare tactic here. He cancels it. They're going to continue going for the push there. Shockwave does some damage, but not nearly enough to deter them completely. But even though he has the blue buff, Snoopy is pushed back already at very low mana, a very mana-intensive character, especially in the early game. Ullr's going to have to play a little bit more conservatively to deal with the consistently full mana drama.
Well, the biggest thing about the fact that Barracuda also has blue buff is that he is free to harass and push simultaneously, not worrying about his mana pool. It's exactly right. I mean, the harassment and push and mana control is going to allow Barracuda to push this wave out completely. There's a taunt. Barracuda, great shield by Hinla immediately after.
Andenster kind of doing the Shing strat of stealing away some mid experience as he rotates down to split the camp here. With MLC Stealth, we're going to see Gars rotate as well on the chase. Actually gains a lot of experience and helping out by keeping the creeps out of the tower as well. This will allow a kind of even gold trade all around. Actually, looks like they went for the small camp on the bottom side and now rotating back into the mid. This could be a good fight we see here. Andy's looking for blood.
There's the hit. Does he have a hammer? He does. He teleports out there. Boosh is backing away. The slow is going to hit, but no celestial beam on top. You see him aggression right side. Divio's getting damage here on Omegatron. Force him back towards his tower, but a lot of push from Cognitive Prime here.
This is where Omega sets himself apart. After using the Hand of the Gods and after using all of his abilities, most players would have backed off. They said the mage can do damage here. Omega's no fear, just keeps it going, keeps the pressure on Devios to ensure that he can make sure Devios goes back to his tower. So instead of losing gold in that situation, he actually winds up gaining some.
Left side, aggression here. Looks like the movement speed buff has been picked up shortly. Industry's going to clear this one out. Gold Fury is available, and first chance they get, they're going to head for it. Looks like rotation coming towards the mid lane. Of course, the first round of mid-caps respawning. Right side, Divios getting slowed. Popping that sprint. Good pickup early.
A strange position on the left side is Ionic and Snoopy are kind of scouting out for possible invades. Nothing coming just yet, and as we approach the 3-minute mark, we're going to see teams start setting up for those mid-camps. But it looks like the control so far maintains in favor of COG Prime.
Being pushed back here. Good control. Looking at the charts, we see a slight golden experience lead here for Cognitive Prime. Mid lane is completely on control. Mid camp's about to spawn here. Looks like they're respawning very shortly together. The right one will be the second to spawn. Left side looks like they're already on the case. Boosh and Ionic already here together. The guards will clear this one out. Right side looks like they can go through. Oh, Divios forced back towards his tower, taking a lot of damage from Omega.
Yeah, Omega actually getting a little low in the mana department, and Vimana, a character that uses a ton with every ability. Anister's going to rotate in here, but they're really not too much gained. He'll head on back. Left side, we're going to have a push here. Here comes the first major attempt. Gar's going to get stunned out by Hinla, who will manage. Oh, with the big taunt, this could be trouble. Milner's Attunement doesn't hit the double tap. Snoopy trying to find it. Bladed arrows
No
used.
mana.
Hail of arrows, no mana, and Jeff Hinla will escape.
We talked about it earlier, DM. He needs that mana pool to get the kill. Didn't have that last shot for the bladed arrow and can't finish the kill off. He's going to run back to the base. It looks like Hinla will be A-OK. Big opportunity there for Cognitive Red. They're not going to grab Anister coming through. Snoopy's by himself. He's got just enough mana for a jump. He pops the movement speed. There's the ultimate coming out. The damage coming through. The big crit coming out. But it looks like there's no follow-up. Just need a snipe. Can he get the raw snipe? MLC Stealth gets it.
Oh, first blood's going to go down in favor of COG Prime. Even without that stealth, Andy had an absolutely perfect jump, which applies a slow, and that's going to give them great pressure now as the buffs start to respawn. Barracuda's sitting very low mana right now, but picking up this mana buff won't have any trouble whatsoever.
Stun on the right side, Omega is clearing out this way very effectively. Good strong push from him. Looks like the minions will be cleared out. Movement speed picked up there by Gars. Looking back at the charts here, top player damage does indeed go to Snoopy for the harassment, but definitely a very strong kill there on the side of Cognitive Prime. Looking at the charts, they're nearing that 1,000 gold and XP lead mark, which can be extrapolated very easily. The mid-cap seems to be going pretty evenly, though.
Well, I'm looking at MLC Stealth here, currently level 9, two levels ahead of anyone else, but we are going to see Boosh rotate down. Wave to wave, it looks like he will hit 8, but that still puts MLC a huge point ahead.
Omega stun. Athena ultimate coming down here. Omega dropping low. Good shockwave. Needs a shield though. Good ultimate as well. He's running. He goes down there. It's 1 for 1. Talk about Hinla in trouble. The hammer, the bomb, the stun. Second bomb gets it. It's a 2-for-0 exchange. Looking for Anderson. He's got nowhere to go, but they don't want that kill.
Oh, he teleports back in, doing some damage. Gar's going to be forced to retreat.
Does he have it? The passive for movement speed. Trying to get in range for the ultimate. Can Stealth pick this one up? He's too far away for that.
That was close, though. I mean, he was kind of putting himself in range. That was a really good rotation, but COG Red answering back in spades. Beautiful play.
Absolutely awesome, and exactly what they needed as well. That's going to tie up the gold and experience right on the dot. It's still up in the air right now, and Cognitive Red has shown that they can prime it.
Check this out. Win-loss percent right now majorly in favor of MLC Stealth at 84%. Much higher goal per minute as well, but then you take a look at the board right now, and COG Red still has the lead right now. They need this early lead.
They definitely do, and in fact, as far as like average kill-death ratios on the team, the Boost is actually the highest, with his top character at 4.21 with a 58% win rate, and he's actually playing very well right now, going blow for blow with that Agni play. In fact, Agni is his 3rd most played character, so he's pretty much in the depths right now. Mid-camp left side will go to COG Prime. Right camp as well. They got both. Yeah,
DVO's backed at a pretty unfortunate time. Omega rotates in. He did drop a death there, but he's starting to make up for it.
He sprinted to get it.
Yeah, a beautiful rotation. You look in the lane with that Gladiator minion, actually didn't lose a single creep either. Incredible.
Incredible play across the board, and they're doing so well in the early game here. Look at the charts. Looks like a slight lead yet again for COG Prime. They're pulling little by little ahead. There's a help from MLC. MLC's all over the map right now.
Yeah, he's been rotating a lot. The second rotation may be a little bit late, but the first one resulted in first blood.
Divios is going to be rushing that Warlock Sash, it looks like. Boots completed on pretty much everyone in the game. Both Hunters have their Devourer's Gauntlet. We'll see if either of them go for the double stacking strat.
I'm expecting it, honestly. I mean, the Heartseeker push has been very strong, especially with Dev's Gloves, but right now I'm looking at Snoopy as level 8 comparatively to Barracuda, who's level 7. You know, and Bart in the early game was talking about stats and how interesting it was for Snoopy. Drybear, why don't you tell us a little bit about his goal per minute ratios?
Well, looking at Snoopy, Snoopy's actually a little bit surprising here. In fact, a lot of times, if Snoopy is not ahead, he doesn't win the match, and it's quite significant. Mid lane stun on Ennis, looks some harassment here, looks like shield will come up. Now, average on Hunters, 438 GPM is the dead average, but Snoopy has never lost or never won a match with less than 467. That is way above average, so he has to be very far ahead to win a single match.
But when he's at that point, he has won every single time.
That's right.
That's the true carry right there. Doesn't do too great from behind, but if he's ahead, he will carry the game.
Well, I talked a little bit to Cognitive Prime as well, and the big reason is that a lot of times they like to focus on Barracuda. They like to push that down. So a lot of times Snoopy will get a lot of gold from it just because that aggression is coming out in his lane. But Snoopy is definitely one of those players that knows what to do with the gold lead. He knows how to spend his money and really get in there towards the end of the match and really make a big difference. So eyes are on Snoopy here to see what he could do. But I did talk to Cog Prime last night, and what they mentioned the most is that if they can make sure that Guards gets no ganks early, they have a very high success rate.
Oh, speaking of ganks here, Andy's finding a good line. Guard's going to turn around and get some damage off. They turn to the boosh, but nothing done. Path of Flames will get him out of there safely, and now I guess the fight will just be washed.
Now this is fascinating. A single kill lead here for Cog Ray, but Cog Prime has the gold and the experience lead, so definitely better farming on the side of Cog Prime, especially including mid camps. I'd like to see Cog Red make a bigger push towards the mid camps. I know Enniser loves his farm, and he pushes only for that.
I'm looking at Devios right here. He's trying to get, well, actually, he is now finally in the gold range to finish up that Warlock Sash, but he's taking his time. This might be the wave for him to go back here.
This is his chance, and he's got to push for it. Thor's coming through the jungle on the right side. The Fire Giant area might be heading towards Omega, but Omega's playing very, very safe. This is just signature Cognitive Prime. They love to just grind it out until late game.
Devios actually top farm on his team right now by 2 gold, and is the currently, I think, youngest professional Smite player. Yes, 14 years old.
Devios, yes, very, very young. In fact, almost all of Cog Red are very young. It's 14, 16, 17, 17, 18.
Jeez.
They're all very, very
Really?
young.
I didn't know that. That's incredible. All right, Jeff Himla getting turned on here. Gar's taking a lot of damage as he's going to get pushed on, but it's turning real quick. I think Himla's down.
Oh, here comes the ultimate, pushing him forward. Eonic the one in the shot, though. Double stun coming out. Emil's Stealth is backing away. The hammer's double hit. That's hot. The shield wall's on down. Guards is trying to get away. He gets body blocked a little bit by the boost, but looks like he will be all right. A double kill yet again for Cog Red. They are the 4th seeded team going against the 1st seeded team, and they are making a splash.
You know, we got to talk about EU. We saw them going in. Everyone expected the TSM C9 finals, and they wound up taking 3-4. Everyone today is expecting Cognitive Dig finals, but there might be upsets.
Well, looking at the charts here, as far as average game time, Cognitive Red has the least amount of game time played. On average, their matches last much less than all the other teams today playing in the tournament. So that means either they get really far ahead and they close it out, or they just surrender. So they're a very aggressive, high-octane team.
And I like that. Speaking of things that I like, invades are very important to me, but a little bit too... Actually, no. It looks like the presence from Omega will stop Devios and his push towards the blue buff. That's a big win.
You're pushing away here. MLC Stealth going for that sash. It looks like we're going to have 3 sashes this game in the match. Devios rushed it, but Boosh and Stealth are kind of taking their time with it. Omega's going to be starting here. It looks like, I would imagine, Hide the Urchin just get a little bit of split. He does have a physical jungler going up against him and a magical solo laner, so it seems like it makes sense.
You know, I just, every time I see Warlock Sash comes out, to me that's just a sign that you put on your chest that says, I'm afraid of the jungler.
Yes.
Yeah, big time. And these are 2 junglers to be afraid
Especially
of.
when you rush it first item.
But I mean, you're going to go up against Annister, or you're going to go up against Gars. Like, I'd probably get it too.
Absolutely. Pushing away. Hill on the backside. Looks like movement speed buff will go to Anninster here. Look at the gold numbers. Anninster is actually losing to Gars by about 50 gold, surprisingly enough. And Anninster, I mean, he's not really a person that tries to gank. He gets gank opportunities if they appear, if they're just there. But he's a guy that just loves farming. So the fact that Gars is ahead of him right now in farm is big.
So push into the middle lane. Teleport going to come out off that bounce, but nothing doing. Annister will escape doing a small amount of damage, and that's going to allow Eonic to go for a rather uncontested red buff here.
Pushing up here in mid-tower, taking some damage as they go through. Thor's on the right side of the map, looking to pick up Omega. Gars is making his rounds here, looking for big pickups. Now, Devios actually did pick up improved teleport here. We'll see who decides to turn this into. I imagine wards, I mean, well, we've seen Gods a couple times actually teleport to Gods. Across the way, neither of the Hunters have done double stacking.
Yeah, strangely enough. Oh, more push into the mid lane. Beautiful Path of Flames. Actually, a lot of combos coming out, just barely going to get that jump off. He gets actually stunned twice, but no damage.
Gab on the left side comes on through. The minions will be dropping down. Hoonbots is going towards Gars, pushing him back into the jungle. Looking at the damage charts, Thor is top kills, top gold, and top damage for Cognitive Red. So Gars is hitting home.
You know, honestly, win or lose, I think going into Game 2, we are going to see a ban of this character.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he has been such an incredible force so far. Great control, and 2 times he has gotten very low. He's going into the back line, swinging directly onto Barra, who will be forced out. There goes Cataclysm. Gonna hit 2. Gars going down! Huge shot from Anister.
Himla dropping low, back away to go down as well to Divios. The tongue comes out. Rom's up in the air looking for the shot. One comes out there in the backside, doesn't have enough. Anister goes down. Divios, Conrad's got the push. Ionic is still holding it down. Omega is going for the split. Can they get the kill? Ionic will go down. Boosh is still alive. Omega taking the tower, going deep. He wants the big kill. The slow, the stun, the bomb. He's going away for the stun. Snoopy might have it as they go on through the jungle. Big pickup there. It's 6-3.
Right there, Snoopy just barely ran out of mana. You can see him kind of turn his camera like he was looking for the hail of arrows, but doesn't quite find it. But still 3-6. A good answer coming back from Cog. They were down.
Oh, man.
I mean, a 2 for 2, that's really not that bad.
Right now, looking at Barracuda at 5,900 gold across the way. We do see Snoopy sitting at 5,800, so he's 100 gold behind Barracuda. But like we said, generally we like to look at the GPM. So let's look at the numbers right now. Snoopy is currently sitting at a 329 GPM. He's never won a match where he ended the match at 467 or lower. He has to have a very high GPM. So keep an eye on Snoopy right now, who is currently the second least farmed in the game.
Yeah, he's getting kind of down there. Ionic has had kind of strong rotations. You see him at 6 assists right now, on top of the fact that, of course, Midas Boots and Watcher's Gift have been feeding him some extra gold to ensure that he can stay relevant throughout the game without having to steal too much experience from his laners.
Ross pushing up here. The way will be cleared out. We do see Gars currently sitting on Jotun's Wrath. I imagine he's going to go for Hide Virgin next. Generally like to get a lot of CDR and then defense right after, because Thor's just goes so deep.
Yeah, I mean, just like we saw, his first death resulted in him diving into basically 4 people.
Right side, Divios and Omega going head-to-head here, but they're both very tanky. Unlikely they're going to get anything from it. Hinla is rushing towards that sovereignty, as is Ionic at this point. Look at between the gold of the support, 6,500 gold. Across the way, Hinla is actually 400 gold behind Ionic. Now, talking to support players, to them, gold means a lot.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it has to. They don't get a lot of experience in lane. They're constantly rotating. So being able to pick things up like assist or a kill here and there,
right,
you know, split a camp with the jungler thanks to Bumba's mask, they have to do what they can, because if they start to fall behind, they become too squishy into team fights, they start to initiate and they get blown up.
Well, the biggest thing for supports is because they don't buy a lot of items, the HP per level is a big thing. Oh, defensive ultimate. They're missing the shot from Stealth. Ionic's going to pop his ultimate up there and force them away.
I don't know that was necessary.
Yeah, it seemed like it was very, very preemptive. And it could just be Anister just wondering, do I need to get away from this? Is this a chance for them to push around? And the way it's been going so far, Cogred's being very aggressive. But back to what we were talking about before, you know, as far as supports go, they don't finish items very often. So generally, the only stats they're getting is the stats per level. They get HP, they get defense, they get mana. They have to level up a lot in order to get that kind of stat gain. And if you fall behind as a support, it's so hard to keep that up.
I'm looking at Hinla right now, and he's only sitting at 800 gold. It means we still have 350 gold before he has that sovereignty, whereas we see Ionic has already picked it up. That's going to make their team fight presence much, much bigger, which means I think we're going to see a rush to the Gold Fury soon.
Gold Fury is available. We do know that both teams like to pick that Gold Fury up early. Thor's going up in there looking for Barracuda. Looking for the backup. There's a sprint. There's the taunt. There's the stun. Purification beats. He's trying to get away. He can't do it. The ult is late. Barracuda goes down. They're backing away. Anister has no way in this fight. All 5 players, and the prediction is there. The Harbinger of Smite. DM is correct. The Gold Fury is available.
Jeff Himla does not have Blink, which means this is a walk-up situation. Coming behind, but Cognitive Red takes the first Gold Fury of the tournament and puts themselves even farther ahead.
Omega has to back away here. Looking at the gold, 1,500 gold in favor of Cognitive Red, 2,000 experience as well. And again, a big upset. This is the sister team, the team that has statistically the worst performance measures across the board.
Right.
Nothing is in their favor from the stats side, and yet here comes Cognitive Red clearing everything and forcing Cognitive Prime to rethink their whole strategy.
I mean, I really love the push that they did. They saw Barracuda slightly out of position. It was Athena taunt.
Right.
You know, we had the ults coming out. Gars was in the air, finds him just perfectly, and then Snoopy with that hail of arrows just on the tip of the foot. Does enough damage to make sure that Gars can pick it up, and then they were like, let's go, it's Gold Fury time. They get it, they back off, they don't try to pressure anything. Even with the 5v4, they're like, let's just take our win, reset, keep farming.
I love the positioning of Gars' ultimate in that shot. He could have gone for the straight hit, but instead he closed out the route out, so that the second he made that decision, even if he had purification beats, he took damage from the ultimate, and Thor was in a position to block him off. I love the positioning.
Exactly. Beautiful play. And that's not only a lot of understanding of Smite, but that is 100% trust in your teammates to do the right thing. And it couldn't have been any better for them. It was beautiful.
It was perfect. Now, talking to Cognitive Prime last night, they had no fears going into this matchup, especially against their sister team. Now, as far as scrims go, they scrim each other more than anyone else, and that could be the biggest gain for Cognitive Red, the fact that they just know Cog Prime really well.
Maybe they were sandbagged.
Oh.
Ooh. Probably not.
This is the double hustle.
The double hustle.
They're going to double up at the Prime event and then push it down and get the win. Looking at the stats here, as far as the items go, it looks like Snoopy's about to finish off his chin size, I would imagine. Omega's going to go for the same thing.
Hey, possible. I mean, there is still the Executioner as well. I'm not 100% sold that it'll be chin size on both, but it's possible. You know, it's funny because I think we both started looking at the items when we said double, because I was like, double stack, are they
double
doing
stack,
it? Yeah.
Look at Barracuda, though. He's going to start with a light blade here, that attack speed, so we'll see what he decides to pick up as he finishes off that item tier. But a little bit different from what you normally expect. Divios has finished off his Shoes of Focus, now going for that Bancroft's Talon, get a little bit of lifesteal away. Now, Junkwei's a weird character the way he plays, right? He's just, I look at him as a bucket. He dumps his bucket and he hopes everyone's dead.
And if he's not, he's just completely empty and will be kicked
waddles
over.
away in fear.
No, usually he doesn't get away. And, you know, but Devios is doing a great job right now. Level 18 on a character that's inherently very tanky, especially with something like Warlock Sash. I mean, that's going to be super strong. And now he has shielded teleport. He's looking for pressure, but Jeff Hindler gets a double kata, but I think that was more of a defensive measure. Yannick jumps in, two-man, big taunt. And we're going to see beads from Anister, shield onto Stealth to get them out of there. That will be maybe not a waste at all. I mean, that beads was a big pickup.
See, this is something that you'll see in competitive matches and tournaments, but never in casual play. The second Ionic saw those beads, he backed off.
Yeah.
That's a win. That is a win in their book, and they get away. And that's what's so great about watching these top-tier teams, that they go for the small things that add up over time. Now they know Purification Beads is on cooldown. If they go for a match fight, that's right.
It's that 3-minute cooldown. And then, you know, Andy's got to be fearful of that. He doesn't have another slot open. He did, you know, go into Hand of the Gods, so he's sitting on Tower Shield for some defense. But if there's a major rotation from Devios, especially with that shielded teleport, I'd be pretty nervous right now.
Right side, Omega being forced back towards tower. 3 players in the mid lane. They might be going for this mid tower. It's pretty weak. It's a couple sneezes away from going down, but Boosh and Ionic are on the case, looking for some kind of follow-up.
Do you see this solo lane? Like, they have completely walked to each other's towers to clear waves, and then they just leave. And they don't even look at
That's
each
solo
other.
lane. That is solo lane for you.
No pressure, no fear of fighting.
And you can have my minions, I'll have yours. It's the same thing.
It's
Doesn't
very
matter.
friendly.
Right camp goes to Cog Red. You're looking at the charts, 1,600 gold and 2,500 experience in the lead for Cog Red. And I like the fact that they got that big victory, they got the Gold Fury, and they haven't pressured anything. They're just keeping it slow. They're looking for jungle camps, they're looking for pushes in the waves, but they're not forcing anything. And this is the kind of patience that Cog Red has been missing all along.
You know, early game, we saw the kill go to Cog. Red answers back, but they're still behind in gold. They get ahead with 2 more kills, but then get behind in gold. We saw them go 1,500 gold in the lead, and they maintain that, which means this is the first time we've seen them take the lead and actually hold it.
Looking at the gold per minute here, Snoopy is climbing up in those charts. Divios is topping off his team with 420, a little bit below the average for end of game. Of course, that does change when the towers start falling. The gold threes are more frequent. Across the way, we do have a pretty big spike for a Megatron in the solo lane. Not much pressure coming out there just yet. The towers are relatively healthy on the side of Cognitive Prime. Cog Red has taken a lot of damage, but of course, they have been moving more.
So we are seeing the Executioners come out, which means they're looking for more penetration. Whereas I'm looking at the supports now. We're going to see Ionic opt into Magi's Blessing, getting that bubble to make sure that they're not going to be affected by the Cataclysm, so he can counter-initiate. Whereas Jeff Hindler has opted for Talisman. This could be Stone of Gaia. This could be Bulwark for extra health. He has options available to him. And I think right now both players have made very smart decisions.
Well, I think you look across the way. I mean, there's not really any CC follow-up for Cog Prime. I mean,
right.
Shockwave for Geb, and that's it. I mean, the ultimate's going to be there. Omega's got 1 slow, and if he doesn't have that, he can't keep up. Same thing goes for Enister. You got to go for the ultimate, but of course, that does get the first tick gets removed. You can get out of the fight. I mean, there's so many things that if you avoid that first hit of CC, he's free to do whatever he wants.
Plus, if you're using 2 or 3 major CCs on the support, you're probably going to wind up losing that fight anyway.
Well, I mean, they didn't end up doing that in the first fight there in the mid lane, chasing down Ionic, trying to get the damage out, which is, you know, a little bit different for Cognitive Prime. We know they like to focus on the right characters. Left side Hunter fight is going down, and Snoopy's getting the best of it.
Yeah, Snoopy's pushing it back. Mid camps easily go to Cog Prime there, and that's a pretty big win considering Cog Red was grouped up for it. There's not much to gain, though we are seeing some buff respawns, and I'm surprised to see Cog not paying attention to those timers and rushing right for them. They might have a different plan in mind.
Gab is in front of the Gold Fury, warding it out. That's going to go down there. Good pickup from Jeff Hindla. There goes the hit there. Mid-camp did go the way of Cog Red, though, as they back up towards the jungle. The blue buff will be spawning left side of the map, most likely going to Barracuda here. Book of Thoth has been completed on MLC Stealth as we speak just now, so we're looking for a lot of damage there. Annenster, as well as Gars, has subbed out Hide of the Urchin for Shifter Shield.
I'm more looking at the fact that Devios is level 20 right now and is not rotating. At this point, every time he kills a creep and Omega kills a creep, Omega has an advantage.
Yes.
Because he doesn't gain experience anymore. This is the level cap, which means every time they're trading the gold, they're going even.
Well, a lot of times you see solo laners stuck to their 500 gold tower. I mean, you give 500 gold to the enemy team, it's 100 gold per person. Just let it go, rotate, start pushing the objectives that matter the most. But Divios is glued to that lane for now. We'll see what their plan is going forward. A lot of wards being picked up on both sides. In fact, more sentries on the side of Cog Red.
I like that.
Mid-camp going to be picked up here by Gars going down there. The damage buff will be spawning shortly, and Annenster most likely giving that to Stealth. The first level 20 on Cog Prime is going to be a Megatron, and looks like Stealth is right behind him.
Yeah, level 19 right now. Well, Boosh actually did a good job of playing catch-up. I mean, in the beginning, he was down by an entire level. Now, 104, right in the middle of his team, over 10,000 gold farm, right on top of MLC Stealth. In fact, for all intents and purposes,
damage on the right side. Omega dropping very low there. Looks like Divios wants to push him back and look for this tower. If he gets this tower, it's free. Divios now going through here. He's very tanky, clear this way very easily. There goes the exposed evil exorcism. No slow coming out there. They cleared out when the minions come. He might take this tower.
If Omega goes back, actually Omega has to go back, and the shielded teleport is still available, meaning he has great rotation advantage right now. Omega is in a bad spot.
He went for the shielded teleport, of course. He wants to go towards a tower here. Maybe the mid lane. Looks like Gars is heading over towards the left side. The Gold Fury area is a good spot for Thor to spin on up. Thor ultimate, Athena ultimate. What are they looking for? Where is he going to go? He's going to land on top of the movement speed, but nothing is there. Athena ultimate was a little bit mistimed, and looks like they're going to land down. 2 ultimates down.
That's trouble, man. Having 2 major global presences removed. Snoopy's actually getting turned on pretty hard here, but actually does manage to escape thanks to the Invigorite Glory Bound. He gets out. Jeff Hindla just barely missing the rollout. Doesn't quite get the shield off Ionic, and he was definitely looking for it.
I love his retreat path. He decided to go towards his team instead of towards the tower.
Right.
I love that kind of mindset, grouping up and make sure his team is there to protect him. Ionic was right there in the forefront. The second they initiate, Ionic would pull him right off. And I love the fact about Athena that she has one of the best peels. She got a good cone there, taught 3-4 people. All of a sudden, the whole team fight changes.
No sentry wards either. Still gives, despite the fact that the ultimates were used, major vision and map control to Cognitive Red.
Jeff Hindla pretty far behind here, actually very much so. Ionic is about 700 gold ahead of him. Tier 3 Hand of the Gods is on either side here. You can jump on the top, Moonbot's force back. There's Searing Pain coming through, going to hit Ionic, dropping him low. The knockup, the slow, going up there. Barracuda is there. What's going to hit? 1, 2 coming out here, not going to be using it just yet though. There's a second shot, third shot's not going to land. Devious now jumping in, he's dropping low. Omega's got the ultimate up there. It's going to be Thor's going to land on the top, stunning out Hindla, forcing away. Snoopy's over the wall. It's a 1 versus 1. Annenster's going to take his leave there as Snoopy sprints right back into the fight.
The very tanky Zhang Kui has been removed as they pressure under the tower. Omega, no fear, dies. As you see ML Stealth go forward, he finds one, trying another, actually goes down as Ionic just might barely escape this one. Barra comes in, piercing shot through the heart, going to bring it down.
Boosh is gone. Annester's got the flank into the jungle. Goes Gars. He's taking up the damage buff. They don't see him, but they don't care. A big victory, a 4-for-1 exchange for Cognitive Prime and Cog Red. Their positioning was there. They were retreating in all the wrong ways. They didn't have the control. We saw Snoopy run through the mid camp back to the tower. He took so much damage doing that.
And Gars not rotating back to mid fast enough, loses the mid tower. 4 people here.
To be fair, he didn't know where they were, so he could have jumped in the tower and end up dying there.
4 people go back because they think it's not time for Gold Fury. With 4 down, Devios not even up for 3 seconds. It's time for Fire Giant.
Here's the problem, DM, and we know this from watching Game Hunter. Once Vilmana gets his core, the game changes. He's got his Fatalis, he's got his Chin Science, he's got his penetration from the boots, and a little bit of defense from the Hide of the Urchin. He's getting ready to go.
Little bit. 65.
That's a Fire Giant.
First Fire Giant of the tournament's gonna go back to Cognitive Prime, taking their first seed slot in stride. They bring the lead back. They are now ahead by just 800 gold, but that Fire Giant buff equals to so much.
Oh man, look at the numbers here. The rolls are actually relatively even, but Cog Prime has the control. Gars is here, but Ionic is so far away. Look at this single target damage coming from Barracuda on the Gold Fury. This will fall very shortly. Hindla's got the lock. Oh, they're just gonna crit it. They don't even care.
It's too early. It's too early in the game to hit for 590.
Why waste the hog? Just clear it out.
So now we're looking at stats here. Barracuda 11. We were looking at him at 8,000 damage, actually significantly below some of the people on his team, but still almost 1,000 damage higher than Snoopy. Snoopy's gold per minute is still about 100 away from where we need to see him to take this game.
Now, Gar's win percentage when he's below average GPM is 6%. Oh, he does not play well from behind. Thankfully, he's doing pretty well. 4-1-3 right now. 5-man push to the left side. The tower is dropping. And look for some damage here. Thor at the backside. Bomb on top. Barracuda is actually relatively tanky here. Not taking a whole lot from the Boosh. The Boosh's build is relatively safe, though. He's got, oh, he went for Sash into Book.
I mean, that's a lot of stacking going on. Getting a lot of damage. Ionic actually just dives right in some damage, but you're going to see the heal coming out from Stealth. Make sure that they can heal up. The Shockwave keeps it controlled, and they actually don't get the bubble off of Jeff Hinlow, whereas Ionic cannot reinitiate.
One of the best things to do is just watch the support, see what they do. I mean, right there, you saw Hinla wait for the possible initiation, and then again, Shockwave when they want to start. There's the hit from the Gavolt, and jump on top, Anderson with the damage. There goes the Boosh, goes down, looking for Snoopy, he snipes him across the way. Thor's going up, he's dunking down, but what can he do? The heal on Raw is there, the crit goes out, Gars is done, Demios is done, their Goose is cooked, and this tower will be falling.
Jeff Hinla with the shield baits as they move up the left side. I don't see them being able to respawn in time. I think this is going to be game one.
Oh boy. Man, they're going for this hit there. Gars is out for what, 40 seconds. This is game. This is game. They have 30 seconds to clear it. They got the single target damage. Let's give it up for everyone here. Cog Prime is taking first match against Cognitive Red now. It's a best of 3 series. So Cog Red isn't out.
It's not over.
And they did get their blows in the first match.
They're showing that they're here to fight, but Cognitive Prime answers back in spades as they take game one.
Wow. What a matchup that was. Realistically, Cog Red came out strong, but Cog Prime does what Cog Prime always does. They play the long game. They want to go for mid. They want to go for late. Innister doesn't even look for kills. Yeah. He just wants the money. He wants that gold, and once he gets it, they turn it around on a dime.
It's all about farm, as they have proven. They had the early lead on Cog Red, but didn't transfer it into that. Once that major fight started, it was botched. Devios got a lot of damage off, but there was no follow-up, and they took that inexperience and they turned it into a bomb.
Now, we didn't get very many fights that time. It wasn't very aggressive, but at the same time, it was one of those things where you look at it and you say, can Cog Red keep it up?
Right.
I mean, slowly over time, they're definitely going to pull it here. But, you know, honestly, I want to talk a little bit about the Vamana play from Omega. I mean, once he got his core, he jumped in. So let's go ahead and hop into a replay with Omega playing Vamana. He got that Fatalis, and once you have that, you can glue to them. And his positioning was just perfect.
I mean, this is what Omega does. He farms until he has the ability to just blow everybody up. Similarly, it's how we see Game Hunter. So you're going to see him walk right in here. No problem. Pop the ult and just start chasing things down. At this point, Devios is just not getting the support that he needed. Omega is now just going to start running. Watch him dive the tower here, Dry.
Oh, man, he's jumping in there. He's going to look for the hit, but watch him take a lot of damage. We did see Stealth go to the backside as well, but Boosh gets knocked out immediately. Knocked up is Snoopy, and Snoopy's under so much pressure this game. He takes the tower for his team, and, you know, he wasn't looking for damage rate. Vamana can do tons of damage, but he wanted to spread them. He knows that the success rate of Snoopy relies on Ionic and his play with Athena, and once he peeled them apart, Snoopy was exposed.
So we're going to head over to our expert desk for further analysis with hi-rez Kelly and hi-rez Bart. Guys, take it away.
That was a really exciting game there. I actually thought that Cognitive Red was going to take it over, but Cog came back from the end. Unfortunately, there isn't any analysis right now. However, we do have you a few videos to show.
Yes, we do. Coming up, we're going to have a little quick video to show you guys exactly how the teams playing here today and how teams around the world are going to make their way to the Smite World Championships. Let's take a look.